Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll do dynamic routing. Okay. All right. So we'll do dynamic routing today, and we're starting with dynamic routing today. So we're gonna do all the different various flavors of dynamic routing. And I know I promised in the last video that I was going to continue with virtual port channels, but for technical reasons, I skipped that one out. I'm going to come back to it on a later video. So for dynamic routing, actually seen routing several times before. Okay, we've seen static routing. We've even seen dynamic routing. Okay, if you have a location where you have one router R1 and you have another location where you have one router 2, okay, and you want these two routers to talk to each other, you can actually establish a static route. Okay, and a static route where you say IP route of any IP address, any IP or any subnet mask go out fast ethernet 1, okay. So if traffic is coming from the LAN side, wants to go out anywhere, establish a static route. Okay, we've even seen dynamic routing, but it's time for us to even look at it in more concrete ways to see all the features. So what is dynamic routing? Dynamic routing comes in when we have several routers. Okay, we don't just have two routers. We have R1, R2, R3, R4, Rn. Okay, we have so many routers, and you cannot go to each router and actually just establish, create static routes, defining what subnets have to go out, what interface. That's not very scalable. So that's why we use dynamic routing. Okay, it makes our work simpler. And for the purpose of this video, we're going to start with the RIP routing for today. So one of the dynamic routing methods that we're going to use is going to be RIP routing. Okay, so let's dive right into it and see exactly what is RIP routing. I'm going to use this topology for our RIP routing. Okay, I'm going to use this topology. We have altogether about 7 routers. So all these are loopback interfaces on the router. Okay, so the IP naming scheme is what you see here. Of course, I'm going to make some changes along the way. The video today, we're going to be concerned mostly with we're not going to we don't need you can take note of this the whole topology. But today we're going to probably just use router 1, router 2, and router 3. Okay. So let's dive right into it and see exactly what we have. I have not configured any of these routers, so I'm just going to power them on right now. So I'm going to power on only the first 4 routers, which is R1, R2, and R3, R5 as well. Okay, maybe we're going to use R5 as well. So, all right, so I powered on the 3 routers. I powered on R1, R2, and R5 because for today I think these are the only routers we're going to be concerned with today. So I make sure that none of those routers is configured. Okay, so if I go to R1, I do show IP interface brief. Okay, see there's nothing configured. If I show run session router, so also routing is not configured, so the router is completely empty. There's nothing in there. Okay, so there's nothing absolutely configured in there. So right now I'm going to, for router 1, I'm going to configure exactly what we saw on the diagram. So the configuration is right here in the notepad. So right here, you see, I'm just going to copy paste. Okay. Just going to copy paste the interface configuration with the loopback interfaces. Okay, exactly how we see on the diagram. So put here. Now, if I do show IP interface brief, okay, you can see our interfaces are configured. Okay, and our loopback interface are configured. This is actually going to be the right router ID. I'm going to be using it for router ID in the future videos. So this is how our loopback interface are configured for router 1. And we can now configure the dynamic routing. So for dynamic routing, we're using RIP. Okay, and the two versions of RIP. The depreciated one is version 1. So the more recent one is version 2. Okay, just to mention, RIP is no longer really used in industry today, but it's a good tool. It's good to know. Okay, it's a good tool. It's a good routing protocol to know for starting. Okay, then of course when you're doing OSPF and ARGRP, then you already have an idea about routing, dynamic routing. So yeah, so I put router RIP version 2, and then I make sure this RIP doesn't have auto summary. Okay, because it comes with auto summary by default, so you have to say no auto summary. And then I am telling the RIP routing to enable it for all interfaces connected to it. Okay, this is all interfaces connected to this router are going to run RIP. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. And in router 1, let's say configure terminal. And I'm going to add this one. Now, if I do show IP RIP, IP route, you're going to see all our routes are all either directly connected. Okay, C is what directly connected routes. See here, C directly connected routes, or the routes that are what is L local routes. Okay, so either local routes or dynamic. We don't yet have RIP routings. Okay, we don't yet have RIP routes because we need to configure the other side. So let's go to router 2. So this is our router 2 here. We're going to configure router 2, make sure that the gig 00 interface has this IP, and the way I named it is if it's router 2 and all these interfaces, they're .2. If it's router 1, all the interfaces is going to be .1. So except the loopback interfaces. Okay, the loopback interface is going to be .1. For all the interfaces connecting routing, the various different routers. So the interface is going to be the name of that router, okay, the number of that router. So let's go into router 2. I do show IP interface brief. See, there's nothing configured here. Show run Okay, no router is configured. So I'm going to go to router 2 and do exactly the same thing. Okay, just going to copy this configuration here. I'm a slow type. I type slowly, so that's why I prefer to copy on Notepad. So just type it, just put the configuration there. And then also we're going to add the RIP route. So RIP route version 2, no auto summary. And then we're going to enable RIP for all directly connected interfaces. Okay. Okay. Now let's save the configuration and see what routes we're getting. Okay. If I do show IP route. So I'm in router 2 and I say show IP route, and now I start seeing RIP routes. Okay. I'm not only seeing the local and connected routes, I'm now also seeing RIP routes. let's check if we receive all the loopback route from loopback interface of router 1. Okay, so if I do show IP route on 72.16.0, okay, okay, so all this, what you're seeing right here, these are all the loopback interfaces, okay, that are learned from router 1. Okay, in the same way, if I go to router 1, I show IP route on 72.17. Okay, so these routes are coming from router 2. Okay, these are the loopback interface routes of router 2. If we check on this diagram, this is exactly what we see here. So it's telling us if you want to go to this network, okay, you will go out through the router 1 gig 00. Okay, and we know this through a rib route, the administrative distance of 120 and a metric of 1. Okay, so that's how we interpret this. This. So if I do ping, let's say I'm pinging this one, okay, and I source it from source it from anyway, I don't have source it from anywhere. Let me just say source it from loopback. Anyway, let me just ping. The ping should work even without sourcing from anywhere. Let's see. Okay, anyway, it doesn't work because I didn't define the source interface. Okay, so I'm going to say ping. Okay, so what happened was that what I was trying to ping an interface that didn't exist. Okay, so I remember when in the diagram here, I said on each router, let's say I'm talking about router 2, if I'm trying to ping any interface on router 2, this okay, I think I made that error myself because here I'm putting a .1, but in reality, in the configuration, I put the loopback interface at .2. So that's something I have to change with my network diagram. So let me just do that quickly. All right, so I made some changes on the loopback interfaces, my descriptions. I didn't actually reflect my configuration. So on the router 1, the loopback interface is the end with .1. Okay, all the IP addresses are all around R1 is going to end with .1. Same thing with router 2. So because of that, I was pinging an interface that doesn't exist. So if I do ping to 172.17.4.2, okay, I'm pinging the other side. Okay, that ping works. So our rerouting is working. Okay, in the same way, let's bring up router 5. Let's bring up this router 5. If we check router 5, we see it doesn't have any configuration at the moment. So I go show IP interface brief. Okay, has no configuration. We have to load the configuration for router 5. So this is what we have for router 5. Also, we have to add the routing for router 5. Okay, now if we check on router 5, we should see router 5 be able to see the routing. Router 5 should be able to see route 4 router 1 and router 2. Okay, let's check 172.617 on router 5. So IP route. Okay. Since we have a lot of routes, let's just say include 172.17. Okay. So we see routes for router 5. Okay. And it's telling us that we know about this router 5 through the gig00 interface of router 5. Okay. And this is via this interface on router 1. Okay. I told you whenever you see .1, it's going to be router 1. That's my naming scheme, which permits me to be more visual about what I'm saying. And also, we know it's a reroute because we see this administrative distance 120. It's a RIP administrative distance. And we have a hop count of 2. Okay. Like if we're going from router 2 to router 5, this is considered a one hop, first hop, and this is second hop. Okay. Second hop because the loopback interface is considered in the perspective of this router is like another. You need this router for that hop to get to the loopback interface. Okay, so in the perspective of router 5, the loopback interfaces we have to go through 2 hops, this router 1 and router 2. Okay, so yeah, so the rerouting is working between these 3 routers, and for this particular video, I'm going to leave it here, but our next video, we're going to talk about route summarization. Okay, so we're going to check the same video, but we're going to do route summarization. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for now, and in the next video, we're going to focus on how we can summarize this route. Okay, let's say talking about router 1 and router 5 and router 2. Okay, let's say we don't want these routes on router 2. Okay, we don't want to see these routes on router 2. We don't want to see this route on router 1. Okay, this because this router actually came from router 2. So how do we summarize them? Okay, so that we see only a summarized route. So that's going to be the focus of our next video. And yeah, so thanks so much for watching, and talk to you next time.